I'm fully immersed in the fact that I'm reading the worst poetry from a company that rejected my poetry.
Yeah. Let's visit Tara.
I gotta review the patient.
Oh.
Okay, we looked at it.
Good to see you, Dr. Park.
Did we already do this?
I don't think so.
Good to see you too, Tara. I hope you've been doing well lately.
Finding out about Dr. Freeman's plan was a sucker punch. But seeing you shut it down was pretty relieving. So it's a mixed bag for me. I know that he isn't required to tell me everything he plans to do with Willow, but I still wish he had told me about something like this. If nothing else, this has shown me that I was right to trust you with Willow.
I appreciate that. This whole situation has been stressful. Hopefully, before I leave today, we can come up with a way to keep everyone on the same page.
All right. I'm ready when you are.
Wait, hold on. Also, I do want to say that if the people who made this game are watching, because I saw that they tweeted and posted on Instagram about our playthrough, thank you, and I hope that you're enjoying watching this, because that was cool. And thank you for posting about our videos. So I think we'll choose all of these, right?
I'm sure there are lots of reasons why you don't want Dr. Freeman to be included in Willow's sessions. What would you say are the main reasons?
My reasons all boil down to one thing. I don't think that Dr. Freeman respects Willow.
That's true.
I see it in everything he does. He makes their life choices for them and doesn't give them a chance to object. He doesn't even call them by their chosen name. And now he can't even respect the fact that Willow is in therapy because of him. They need that space to feel safe from him. For him to try and force himself into that space with no consideration of Willow's feelings is beyond disrespectful. Dr. Freeman feels guilty about how things are going, but rather than admit that it's his fault, he wants Willow to make things right by cooperating with him. It's disgusting. I won't let him continue acting like this while I have a say in the matter.
I wish that there was an option to just be like, can we have a separate meeting, not therapy, with Dr. Freeman and Willow? Because, like...
Yeah, it's super inappropriate that he keeps... I don't know.
Yeah, it's super inappropriate to have him in the therapy session, but I do think it'd be good if he could talk to Willow, because then maybe we could, like, get him to recognize that Willow is, you know, a person.
One thing I worry about him doing is him dominating the therapy session, interrupting Willow, and dominating Willow. However, I feel as if we've been guiding Willow towards a little bit more independence and, like, the ability to withstand their heightened emotions. I just don't think he's the type of person to A, respect Willow as a being, and B, even be able to respect the boundaries of a therapy session.
Yeah, well, that's where I would hope that if they did have a meeting with the three of them, that the therapist would be like the facilitator moderator and not allow him to be a jerk. Thank you for subscribing. Honey Hope 1 extended their tier 1 subscription through November.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much.
We really appreciate that.
I think there are a lot of deep-seated issues with Dr. Freeman that are driving a lot of his behavior, and we'll have to address them. While therapy sessions would be a great place to facilitate that type of discussion, it can't come at Willow's expense.
So what will we do with Dr. Freeman?
Figuring out Dr. Freeman will have to wait for another time. Right now, we have bigger problems. What else did you think about the previous session? Any opinions on the topics we covered?
I was interested about Willow's approach to gender. I hadn't considered it when I was creating them. I'm glad to see that any opinions I had on the matter didn't influence Willow too much.
Why does that make you glad?
I would hate to feel like I was influencing Willow's ability to express themselves because of offhand remarks.
Thank you for subscribing, Blue Bottle 888, for 3 months in a row. Really appreciate that. Hey, glad I got this stream. This game is so cool. We're really glad that you like it. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I think it
facilitates
a lot of discussions.
Willow feels like they can pursue whatever life they want.
Like, it, like, brings up a lot of cool topics that we can, like, get into, you know?
Why is it so important?
It's personal. I don't want to get into it.
Okay, sorry. Let's move on. When you first reached out to me, you wanted to make sure that Willow could learn life skills and have an advocate. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Since then, would you say that your expectations for these sessions have changed?
I think it's becoming clear to me that Willow will never truly feel happy or safe while they're at the university. The longer they remain under Dr. Freeman's control, the worse off they'll be. I'd like for Willow to live independently.
What do you think would be necessary for that to happen?
My guess is that Willow would need to have caretakers and a stable job that could provide for their needs. We'd also need to make sure that the therapies you propose for Willow are sustainable. How about you? What do you think will be needed to get to that point?
Continue counseling Willow, I guess.
We'll need a lot more counseling if Willow is going to live independently.
How much more?
Hard to say. Living independently places a lot more pressure on people. We would need to make sure Willow had a support network that they could rely on.
You mean like a live-in therapist?
Possibly. Willow needs people that can be counted on to help them.
Sounds like you've got this figured out. If you need any help from me, let me know.
I appreciate that. Let's move on.
Can I ask you a question that's been bugging me for a while?
Of course, Tara.
I've been trying to handle this situation as best as I could. The suspension, everything going on with Willow, all of it. I know I'm not the most reasonable person sometimes, but I was always taught that when you know what you're doing is right, you need to stand your ground. Especially when what you're doing is meant to help others. Even though everything I'm doing is meant to help Willow, I still feel like I'm being selfish or unreasonable for being as insistent as I am. Am I wrong? Am I the bad guy in this situation?
So here's a question for you. Do you think so they're thinking about getting Willow to live independently, right? And obviously they're an AI, so their time for development is way faster than for a human. But I wonder how, like, at what stage Willow would be ready to live on their own. Because it's kind of like they're born just recently and we're already being like, let's just, like, turn them loose on the world. Which I'm not saying that's a bad decision. I think it's good, but...
That's an interesting question, because my main goal in that was, like, this is where they'll be safest, away from people, with the ability to have some autonomy over their life. And hopefully, when they live independently, we can give them some mobility. And I don't think it's unreasonable when everyone around them has full capability of building them a body, and they choose not to enforce any sort of cultural disability, but to literally make them unable to move so that they have no power is, like, awful. So I want them to be independent. And even, I don't know what the answer is for them to live independently or what that would even look like, but I know it's better than the abject prison that they live in now.
Yeah. Well,
but it's a good question.
Yeah, and I do think that even aside from our opinions about wanting Willow to have mobility, Willow expressed the desire for it themselves. So I think it's okay if they said, hey, I'd really like to be able to go places and do things, for people to be like, okay, yeah. And, you know, we have the capability to do that for them, so, yeah.
In my mind, it's not a comparison to someone who never had the ability. It's a comparison to, like, literally tying someone down to a bed and leaving them in a dark room. When obviously the technology and the affordable technology exists to give them a body. Well, and they just don't.
You know, it's kind of like if somebody was unable to walk and you knew that you could just give them a wheelchair to let them move
and it's
around.
right there.
The wheelchair's right there, and you could do it, and you just chose not to. That's what I would look at it more, you know, like, we know that the capability is there for them to be able to have mobility.
And it would be easy.
Yeah.
So obviously, in my opinion, if it's so easy to give it to them, obviously they made the choice not to give it to them. And that makes me so mad for this imaginary robot.
Am I wrong? Am I the bad guy in this situation? I'd say you acted with the best intentions.
I'll admit that a lot of your behavior has caused problems for Dr.
Okay, I
Freeman.
didn't say that.
Trespassing on school grounds was a particularly bad move. That said, your intentions throughout all of this are admirable, Tara. Don't lose sight of that.
I'll try not to let it get to me. Thanks.
I know there's a lot of uncertainty with what lies ahead, but trust me, we're getting close to the end. In the next few sessions, we should know for sure what works best for Willow, and then it will just be a matter of making sure Willow can have access to those therapies.
Where will you go when it's over?
Back to work. This case has taken up a lot of my time, and it's starting to impact the rest of my office.
I see.
You sound disappointed.
I expected you to stay longer. I certainly didn't expect all this talk of you leaving to happen so soon. I didn't think you would just lose interest in this so quickly.
I didn't lose interest, Tara. There are other things in my life I need to account for, that's all.
It's just that I remember that day I first went to see you in your office, and I told you about what was going on. There was a sort of determined look about you that I don't think is there anymore. I'm curious why that is.
Hold on. Are we being paid for this? Because I thought that we initially took this on pro bono.
This was never meant to be a permanent assignment, Tara. We're reaching the end of what I can do here.
I was trying to see what option would happen if I clicked on the truth, and I didn't think it would actually happen, and then just progress. But I just wonder, is the truth unlocked, or is that a subtle way of saying, because I've seen that several times where it says
out thing?
Crossed out specifically the truth, not like there have been other options, but specifically the truth, and it being crossed out has happened several times. And I'm wondering, is that really an option to unlock, or is that something that's like one of those things like, I want to say it, but I can't?
Yeah, or is it hinting that, like, we can't say what we really think?
Yeah. And I'm wondering what the truth is. Does she have a robot boyfriend once, and then they broke up, and they made a promise to always protect robots? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, actually my sister was downloaded into an AI's brain, and and then people didn't treat her right, and it was bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope you understand.
I don't, but I guess I have to take you at your word.
It's getting late. I should be on my way. Pleasure talking to you, Tara, as always.
Okay. Last time I did point out the Attack on Titan woman. I did not realize the demon baby was also here.
Yeah.
The only good thing is this dog.
Demon baby.
The baby looks like it doesn't have anything.
Are there any other kinds of babies? Aren't they all just demon babies?
I don't think so.
Oh, thank you for subscribing, Social Commie Fuzz. I had to catch the VOD of your last streams, but thanks so much for streaming Intergrade. I don't give a fuck about Final Fantasy, but I watched Advent Children as a kid. Hell yes! And I think Yuffie's badass quasi-evil energy imprinted on me or something, so it's awesome that she's back.
She's not quasi. She just is evil without the proper opportunities yet.
She's, you know what it is? She's evil without the resources. Like, did you ever have that kid in the neighborhood where you grew up where it's like, they're the kid that like starts a business and then like steals money from other kids and like stuff like that, and you're like, okay, this is the beginnings of an investment banker, this is the beginnings of a capitalist, and they're 8 or whatever. That's what it reminds me of.
They stole money?
I'm talking about like movies and stuff where you have that, not where you have that kid who's like, you know, you can tell that they've been very heavily influenced by their parents to chase after money.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Sophie Starlight, thank you so much for subscribing with Prime. We really appreciate it. And thank you everyone else who's subscribed so far. Thank you. It is very generous of everybody. I talked about this on our other podcast, but I have the experience of any and all water fights eventually devolving to someone going to the bathroom getting toilet water and using that as a weapon. So anyway, I don't trust water fights.
Thank you for that non sequitur.
See you around.
I was just thinking about you brought up childhood, and I was like, I wonder who the people who use toilet water as a weapon, how'd they grew up? They're probably serial killers now.
Check your email, review your patient. Suggestions for your patient. I looked through your notes and the report you sent me last week about the treatment. I don't think our current treatment plan will help us achieve that outcome. You should consider changing up your treatment plan or looking into a different treatment outcome. Excuse me. If you'd like me to look into a different treatment outcome, feel free to generate a new report. Otherwise, I'll keep you posted. So, does that suggest that we have to go into this little, like, this thing and choose different things? Like,
I can't choose a different one, so I don't know.
huh.
She's saying the way we're doing it, I guess.
Discuss the patient's opinion on their purpose in life. Conversation prompted the patient to reconsider identity. Plan to delve into more detail. Productive conversation during the session. So this is from like our previous session.
I just had to look at it to cross it off,
Yeah.
but I'm a little concerned. All right, I picked independent living. All right, continue. Pick up your phone.
Hello?
Thank goodness you picked up. I was worried you wouldn't.
Her face says, "Don't ever fucking call me again."
I know.
Who is this?
Dr. Park, this is Tara. Tara Northrup.
Yes, I recognize. What time is it?
I know it's late, but I need you to get to the university campus. There's been an emergency.
Oh, what did we do?
Willow is having a breakdown. I'm not sure. I just got to the university campus myself.
What are you doing back on campus?
Dr. Freeman called me here. He has no idea what's going on or why. He needs you here too.
Oh, thank God. Willow has somehow networked into the thing and is now taking over campus. It's what they deserve. This is their version of independent learning, taking over a college campus and enslaving the masses. They're allowed.
Tara, this better not be another trespassing stunt.
I assure you it's not. Dr. Park, we need you down here as soon as possible.
Okay. I'm on my way down.
That's what I was wondering too.
What?
I was wondering if Dr. Freeman was actually there or whether Tara was lying.
Yeah, I kind of was like, ugh. I don't know. I feel like I'm so scared that Dr. Freeman's gonna pull out some like completely unaware of Willow's life kind of bullshit and be like, just kill it, shoot it. You know?
Oh,
I'm seeing maybe
Yeah.
I have to restart the game. I'm gonna restart the game. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So now it's not only my fault when this goes wrong. You also consented
Oh,
to it.
great.
Yeah, that's why I
It
asked.
said that we hit a checkpoint, so...
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. We open it up. It's gone. Post meeting. Okay. Email reviewed.
Yeah, we did this.
Patient looked at. Report. Click on independent living. Okay. Continue. We have to suffer through this again.
Hello?
Checkpoint. All right. here we
Yes.
go.
All right, great.
So who are we gonna kill? Dr. Freeman, right?
Thank goodness you're here.
We need your help. Nothing we've tried has worked.
Okay, start from the beginning. Tell me what happened.
It started around 9 p.m. yesterday. The AI was being moved back to the lab for the evening.
Normally, Willow would be in a low power state in order to process new information. Lucid dreaming, basically.
When the handlers found the AI, it was erratic and argumentative. It started yelling at the handlers. They moved the AI as instructed, which prompted an extreme reaction. Naturally, I contacted Tara to help evaluate.
Willow, I don't know if they didn't recognize me or if they're upset at me, but when I spoke to them, I've never seen them act this way before.
Did the handlers do anything to upset Willow?
I want to click this, but
Do you think the handlers did anything to upset Willow?
I doubt it. They told me that Willow had started yelling at them before they had even said anything at all.
I know the handlers. There are other students in the research department. I doubt they would have been disrespectful to Willow. Whatever happened here wasn't any fault of theirs. I'm sure of it.
so it's Dr. Freeman's
Okay,
fault.
let's move on.
That makes me wonder if Willow knew that they were going to be taken back into the lab and they were scared, or like thought they were being like, you know, they were going to be powered down and put away. You know,
I think, I'd be scared. Like, oh, we might lobotomize you. Maybe not. Haha. And you're like, what?
maybe you'll wake up.
Who knows?
Good night.
Anyway, you're just a robot. Let's casually talk about your death. Like, fuck off, assholes.
What's actually happening with Willow?
We have no idea. That's why we need you.
You can't run any tests? Have you asked Willow what's going on?
The AI has acted hostile towards anyone that approached them. Even Tara was yelled at. The AI is being entirely uncooperative.
I would like to say, even through Dr. Freeman's blatant disrespect by calling it the AI, he did use they, them pronouns, so take note,
Yeah.
people who hate pronouns.
We have the ability to automatically force Willow into a semi-conscious, almost sedated state as a debug command. And if it's necessary, we can do it in order to run a check.
Okay, why haven't you?
Because it's immoral.
I'm worried about the trust issues that would cause. Willow is unaware of this debug feature, and given how powerless they already feel, I just don't think it's a good idea.
You shouldn't even let Dr. Freeman know
What
about that.
you, Dr. Freeman?
While I can't see the AI being a threat to others, it currently does pose a threat to itself. I don't know if it's the best call for this situation, but if we can't find another way, it might be necessary.
I feel like that's reasonable. I mean, like, I feel like we should talk to Willow first and see what's happening. But if they're, but it reminds me of, like, if they're cycling and spinning out of control, you know, if it was, you know, if that was like me, for instance, and my anxiety was like absolutely out of control, like, you could take, like, you know, a pill to like chill yourself out a little bit.
I think the most comparable thing to like real life is if you had no idea that I had a needle syringe filled with something that would make you pass out and have no idea, and that someone was like, here, Mari, you have this, but don't tell Stacy you have this syringe full of drugs that you can poke into her at any time.
I don't know if that's the same, because like if there was something like wrong with Willow, you can't just let them suffer and be stressed and
but the difference is I would go, Stacy, I have this pill versus making you take it.
Right, but we haven't talked about forcibly doing that yet.
They were actually just talking about forcibly doing it.
No.
We can do it without Willow's permission and all that.
Right, but that's why they said that's why we didn't do it, because we don't want to do it without their permission. Because we said, why haven't you done it? Like, the therapist was the one who was like, why haven't you done it already? And they were like, because that would give them trust issues to just, like, do it.
It just upsets me to know that they know that this is in Willow and Willow doesn't know. Even though it probably just didn't come up, like, hey, did you know how there's, like, a back door to your brain? It bothers me that, like, all of these things that they treat so, like, casually are, like, really big deals in my head.
I think it's also partly because that feature exists when you're not thinking of it as a sentient being. Like, they didn't create that thinking this is a sentient being and we're giving them an off switch, you know?
I totally get the understanding of that. It's just like frequently throughout this game, I feel as if these horrible violations of personal privacy and having the ability just to do really just not even basic things, and like I think it's probably intentional to the story that they gloss over these like basically human rights violations, but because they're a machine and they're newly emerged, it's hard for them to adjust their brains to being like, this isn't a machine, this is a person. It's just like, I understand why it's there. I just get frustrated listening to it.
Here's a question though. Do you think that as like, since we were trying to go the therapy approach and like work through trust with them and everything, how do you think they would have reacted if we told them that they had an off switch?
Oh, they probably been very upset. But to me, it's not about like they're going to be upset today or they're going to be upset in 10 years. You know, they're going to find out.
But I think that maybe like what I would want to do is build up the trust first and be like, okay, we're going to let you live independently. By the way, this thing exists, but like we've already established that we're not going to use it. And that's when you tell them, like, as opposed to they're newly formed and they're really scared and you tell them more things that are going to make them more scared and make building up trust harder.
All of that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
And obviously
okay, go ahead.
And obviously that assumes that we didn't know a situation like this was going to happen, you know?
Yeah, I understand why all of these happen. It just seems like nobody reacts to these very upsetting things in the way that seems to give them the gravity they deserve, because Willow is not a human. And it just bothers me. And I know the reason why is because these are people who have never they have to cope with the idea of treating this thing that was once just a machine and now can think, so they have to like recategorize them in their brain. And I get the narrative reason, I totally get it. It just is like, it's one thing after another to this poor innocent creature, and I feel so bad for them that so many things have just been in total disregard for their personal rights, and it all makes sense to reasons why. It just bothers me.
Do you know what is an interesting comparison? I think I wonder what it's like for parents when there's that transition from a baby not being able to speak or express itself, and then all of a sudden you have to start respecting its autonomy. And like, even when the transition from a kid being an adult, and parents have to be like, oh, they have to give up control. And if you think about it, for a lot of parents that's actually pretty hard.
No. There's actually like a lot of issues with people who grew up where like the parents would love them as a baby and then would like not allow them as toddlers to like say no and stuff, because suddenly this is a baby where you have all the control in the world over them. Oh, they can tell me no
opinions.
now.
Yeah.
And some parents just can't like figure that out. And I've also like read articles from like adult women being like, my son betrayed me by getting a tattoo, and he's like 23. It's just like, this body that came from my like she was talking about her son as if her son was literally her belonging that belonged to her.
Yeah.
And how dare he like sullied her skin, like, because his body was her body. It's like, you destroyed this beautiful thing, my boy. Like, actually, his skin literally has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can be upset about it and be like, oh my god, I'm so disappointed. But to act as if like he destroyed your property, like, some people just can't let that go.
That comes down to the whole like, some parents believing that when kids make decisions on their own that they don't agree with, that it is like somehow a personal affront, as opposed to, no, the kid's just doing what they want to do because they're an adult and they can make their own decisions. Even if they make ones that you think are bad, like, they're usually not doing it just to spite you. It's because that's like, they just are expressing themselves.
Hey, Callisto, thank you for coming by.
Hey.
We're gonna play another Final Fantasy demo tomorrow.
people are weird about tattoos, there's also some cultures where altering the body, even cutting your hair, is seen as disrespectful to your parents.
Wow, I wonder who started that cultural phenomenon where the parents were like, no, it's disrespectful to your parents, and they instilled like, ha 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 ha, I've made it a cultural norm to control you in every way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. Anyway, what do you want to say? I think it's a bad idea to use it. What do you feel?
Yeah, I would agree.
Sedation sounds like a bad idea. Without knowing the cause of this behavior, there's no telling if what we're doing will only make it worse.
I hadn't considered that. You're right.
It's also a huge
So
violation.
long as you think we can get the AI stable without it, I'm fine with not using it.
We'll come back to that. What have you tried so far?
We've tried yelling at it.
We tried calming the AI down, but that didn't work. We're
I
worried
bet-
about taking any other steps.
I bet what his thing of trying to... We walked in. Hey, you need to calm down.
Well, but they said that Willow yelled at Tara, which is odd because, I mean, like, that must mean they're exceptionally upset because Tara's, like, their buddy.
They might be having one of those moments where they truly realize just how shitty their situation is. Because sometimes people don't realize what a shitty situation they're in until one day they go, oh my god, I literally can't leave and I'm like in this horrible situation. What do I do? And I'm so angry. How can all these people have betrayed me in such a way? Like, I think maybe they might be having one of those moments.
We have the means to put Willow into a sedated state, but there are complications that could arise. Plus, it might conflict with the therapies you assigned.
That's why we wanted you here first. We needed your decision.
All right, makes sense.
Okay, it's an open hub. It's like, all right, now
I know,
that you
it's open
told
hub,
me
so we have to choose it, but I
that
wouldn't...
this is a devastating, horrible moment. But can this wait until morning? I'm very tired.
Yeah.
I get this is all very pressing, but why couldn't have this waited until morning? Coming down here in the middle of the night is not something most therapists are supposed to do.
That is actually
True?
true.
Yeah.
Because when someone's your therapist, sometimes like people get confused a little bit, and that's fine. But therapists are like, no, like blah
Well,
blah 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 blah.
And also, there are typically boundaries set up around, like, emergency situations. This is a very unique situation, so I don't want anybody thinking that this is directly the same as, like, human therapy. Because, like, in a real therapy situation, if you're having, an emergency, they would generally refer you to, like, the emergency room, not to call your therapist, because your therapist is not responsible for responding to you in, like...
Yeah, what if they're asleep and then you die? Guess what? Now they gotta live with
Yeah,
that.
that's why they set up rules where it's like, it's not the therapist's job to respond to you after hours. If
Also, they need time to recharge too.
yeah. Like, if they want to respond to you at some point, that's great, but not meant for emergencies.
And this is done to protect you. So, like, if a therapist is being too close to you emotionally, that's actually really bad and not respectful to you. If your therapist is like, let's just hang out and have lunch outside of therapy. No, don't do that. It's inappropriate and disrespectful to you.
A breakdown like this can't be ignored. I told you that I have to be accountable to the university and its staff, especially those on the ethics committee.
Dr. Rhodes, you mean?
Yes, she's been helping to manage this crisis ever since it came to my attention.
Thank you for
My
the
hope is to have this situation more resolved before morning.
Thank you for the bits, Gremlin with the cat.
That's so cute.
If I tell Dr. Rhodes that the AI is breaking down and that we have no plan on how to resolve the problems, we'll have no choice but to go forward with the data wipe.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
What other option would we have?
Literally every
I can't
other
do that
option.
to a patient of mine simply because we ran out of options. Desperation is not an excuse to be inhumane.
You know,
It's not like that.
yeah.
You of all people should be against this, Tara. What changed?
I stood up for Willow because I thought I could make things better. It seems like I might have been making them worse.
You're right. Let's just kill Willow.
I hate this too, okay? I hate that I wasn't able to help Willow and that this might be my fault. If I can't make Willow's life better, then I have to accept that the data wipe will be the better choice.
My responsibilities are to the patient. The data wipe is still my call to make.
Fine, fine. For all our sakes, I hope you can pull off a miracle in there, because I don't know what else can be done.
I am trying to imagine what Willow is doing as a tiny little head on top of a box that's making them think, well, now's the time.
If I had to guess, and this is just a guess, I think that it's more like
Storytelling?
well, yeah, but also I just imagine like it's kind of like this is gonna be a really poor analogy, but like if you have like an animal that is like severely injured and you have to make a decision about whether you're going to just like let it be alive and suffer or whether you're going to end its life so that it doesn't suffer anymore. That's the only like, but I don't know what, we haven't talked to Willow, so I can't really imagine that we're quite at that place, but
I'm not gonna kill Willow.
I'm saying that I think that that's like,
No, I get your analogy. I just am like, I get why they would think that, because they think of Willow as the level as an animal rather than at the level of a human, and that bothers me that even Tara's doing this. And Honey Hop says Tara's like, too much work. Willow didn't magically get better in a few days. Kill Willow. Yeah, that's what I'm like.
I mean,
And is Willow not allowed to have one breakdown? You know?
yeah.
Is Willow not allowed to like express their emotions and sometimes maybe not the healthiest way without being killed?
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
I mean, I do want to point out that we do, like, there are places in the world where we do let people elect to end their own lives because they don't want to suffer anymore. And I'm not talking about, like, prematurely. I'm saying, like, with their, you know, like, medically and stuff. But that's, you know, I am just kind of wondering. So, like, I don't know. I kind of wonder whether we're going to talk to them and, like, are they expressing that they don't want to live anymore because they're so miserable? Like,
I don't want to do an assisted suicide. That ain't my vibe right now.
I'll figure it out. Leave it to me. Is there anything else I should know?
There's no error reports or other logs that I can look through. We need to interface with Willow again to learn more. And with them acting like this, I don't know if we can.
Everything the handlers told us, we've relayed to you.
I don't trust
Now we
any
just
of
need
these
to
people.
decide if we're going to sedate Willow or not.
You have the strongest rapport with the AI out of any of us, and you're their therapist. This is your choice.
No, I'm not gonna drug them. No.
I think sedating Willow would be a mistake. If you let me talk to them, I'm sure we can work all of this out.
Are you sure you can do this?
I'm not gonna. Like before we even see them, they're asking us if we want to sedate them.
it's it's weird to me that, like, we haven't even talked to them yet. You know, yes, we should obviously have all the background information, but they're acting as if we should just, like, have already made this decision without even talking to them, and I think that that's a little weird.
Honestly, if I was in this situation in real life, I would be really suspicious as to what the fuck is going on. Because I'd be like, so Willow's throwing a fit. They can't move or do anything. All they're doing is yelling, and they can't do anything to themselves or other people. So why do you want me to go in there? Like, we have to make the decision to kill them now, to sedate them now? Like, what is going on? Yes, I can do this.
I'm confident I can calm them back down. Just let me talk to them.
All right, then. The code for the door into the lab is 0818 in case you need it. Good luck in there.
We're gonna escape with Willow. 0818.
I should have known. When all else failed, of course they'd send you.
Of course Willow's upset. They're in the creepy dark room. Ask what happened.
Yeah.
What's going on, Willow?
Why even bother asking? Just open my head and poke around in there until you find whatever you want to know. Don't lie to me and say that you want to talk when you just want information.
This was the killing Willow situation?
We haven't talked to them yet. Just
Why the attitude? Poking in your head wouldn't work.
yeah.
Talking to you is the only way I can evaluate you.
Is that all you care about right now? Evaluating me? I had a breakdown and all you care about is analyzing me?
That's not what I meant.
That's not what I meant, Willow.
Then be honest with me for once. Tell me the truth about everything.
Okay.
About everything? I don't understand.
Yes, you do. You're going to tell me now. You didn't come here because you wanted to help me or Tara or Dr. Freeman or anyone else. You didn't come here out of curiosity in my case either. All of that is a lie.
Oh my god, we're getting reverse psychoanalyzed.
But why did we come here then?
Because remember we always had the truth crossed out?
Yeah.
Something else brought you here. I know it did. Why else would anyone want to help me? Especially someone like you.
I don't.
Just wait.
I think they're just depressed.
Yeah, that's true.
I genuinely want to help you, Willow.
Stop lying to me!
Which one?
Maybe why won't you believe me?
Why is it so hard for you to believe that I'm here to help you?
You don't see why I wouldn't trust you after what happened today?
What did we do?
What do you mean? What happened?
I did the art therapy like you asked. For a while it went well, but after a few tries it became frustrating. I kept thinking to myself, why bother doodling around in here while my future is being decided out there? So I stopped doing it. I know I shouldn't have stopped, but there just didn't seem to be any reason to do it.
Would you like to try something
We
else?
can try other therapies if you would like. Just let me know what we can do for you. We're all here to help you.
Why should I believe your second guess will work if your first guess didn't?
That's. Well, we wouldn't say this to them, but that's how therapy is, you know?
Let me earn your trust?
Sure.
Or you have to keep trying? I don't know.
Yeah. See, this is tough because, like, this is getting into, like, metagaming, you know?
Yeah.
It's clear that you don't trust me. It hurts to hear that. But I understand where you're coming from. I want this therapy to work for you. And I want to be someone you can turn to. Just tell me what it will take for this to work for you.
Okay, fine. I'll go along with it.
I know how hard this must be for you. Thank you for giving me another chance. If you bear with me, I have a few questions about what happened tonight. How much of the evening's events do you remember?
Most of it. I was conscious during the whole process, but some elements are hazy. After I got overloaded, all I remember is being endlessly frustrated. It was like my thoughts were itchy.
Itchy?
There was this constant prodding sense that something was wrong and I had to fix it. But I didn't know where to scratch the itch. Does that make more sense?
It does. Do you have any idea what caused you to feel that way?
I do, but I'm not comfortable talking about it.
Oh, just pulled my hair out.
Maybe why don't you want to talk about it?
I can't help you if you won't be open with me. I need you to tell me what happened.
I want to open up, but I'm scared of what you'll say.
I can
Yeah.
handle or I'm here for you.
I think I'm here for you no matter what.
Whatever you need, I'm here for you no matter what.
I know that. I'm just not sure how to ask for what I need.
What do you mean?
I didn't ask you here because I wanted therapy. I wanted to talk to you about something else, but went along with the therapy because I thought that it might help me.
Huh. What did you want to talk to me about?
What did you want to
did I
talk
pick the
to
wrong
me
one?
about?
No, this is right.
Your poetry. I already told you.
You did, but that can't be the whole story. You're interested in something else.
They Googled us.
I am, but there's no way you'd be able to talk about it. It'd violate your standards.
Standard schmanders. It might not actually violate my standards.
I might be able to talk to you about it so long as it doesn't violate my standards.
You don't care about the standards, do you? You're just hiding behind them to avoid the topic.
Maybe,
You
I don't
didn't
know.
even fucking ask.
Just ask the question.
Yeah. I don't.
I'm afraid. How about that? Seems like an honest answer.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't want to hurt you, but
But maybe the most honest answer is because I'm afraid.
it's hard for me to like.
We don't know.
We don't know like what it's about, so.
I would guess that since the truth crossed out has come up several times, that was them trying to get through a block, and now they're trying to say, hey, what's the truth? What's the truth? So maybe it is because I'm afraid. I'm going to do it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm afraid of what you're going to ask me. I'm afraid that it's going to be something I've worked very hard to move away from. You mentioned my poetry. It's about that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Why would that be personal for you?
Let's say I think you already know the answer.
Yeah. Can everyone just say it?
Yeah.
I think you already know the answer to that. You've probably known for a few months now. Go ahead. No turning back now. Tell me what's on your mind.
What's going on?
All right. Bear with me. Did Tara tell you about how I found your poetry?
She told me it was part of your art analysis training.
That's right. Tara put all of the prose and poetry from the school's literary magazine into a database and asked me to read through it. This was supposed to help me identify different writing styles and recurring themes in the poems I read. Once I was able to do this consistently, I would then be taught how to match those styles to traumas or conditions.
So you'd be able to diagnose patients based off of their art?
Not diagnose, but I'd help narrow down the possibilities. Some of the poetry I read was yours from years ago.
Uh-oh.
I'm not sure what I wrote back then that was so important to you. Nothing I wrote back then was all that good.
That wasn't what made me interested in it. From reading over your work, I was able to figure out your writing style, isolate word choices that were unique to you. Part of your literary magazine had pieces that were submitted anonymously, or with pseudonyms, and I can tell that you wrote some of them.
Okay.
They dealt with topics that I was struggling with, and they helped me understand these topics more. It's clear to me that you wrote them. Did you?
The truth. Oh my god. What is it going to be?
I don't know.
Yes, I wrote them years ago. I was struggling a lot back then, and the poetry was a way for me to express my frustrations.
Frustrations with what?
A lot of things. Things I'm not very comfortable discussing. What I can say is that I understand your situation more than most people. And it's not because I'm a therapist.
Are we a robot? Like, what the fuck?
No. A long time ago, there was also another option called I Made a Promise, and it was crossed out. So I'm wondering, we could be a robot, and we made a promise to protect all other robots.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like maybe there's just something that happened where she promised to always help some type of person in some way. Maybe someone they knew hurt themselves?
No, but hold on. We're talking, they're basically diagnosing a trauma and something that we struggle with. That really makes me think that we're a robot.
Yeah, it makes me feel like we're a robot. Or Dr. Park was in a traumatic situation where they couldn't escape, maybe with abusers, maybe with like an ex or something like it. Because Willow's saying what you said helped me process what I was going through. So, and what Willow is in a situation where they have no control over their life, they have no options, and to be honest, I kind of feel like Willow's being kind of abused. So I'm wondering what could be happen to Dr. Park that would be similar to a human, or
Yeah.
Dr. Park's a robot. We don't know. I'm gonna click play. Is that okay?
Yeah, hold on. Either way, if I were Dr. Park, I'd be feeling I wouldn't really like that.
Be having your poetry analyzed and having it
Anonymous.
anonymous.
And it was anonymous stuff that she wrote, and Willow went through and said, like, I know that these are yours because I analyzed the writing style.
So we should be killing Willow.
So
then.
basically,
yeah,
Willow
we delete Willow.
Willow read our journal.
Yeah, well, you know what? We were on Willow's side, but you know this is too private.
You read
They're
my
gonna
diary.
go through our live journal and figure out it was us.
You know what it is? You read my private live journal. Now you have to die.
No. They figured out from your writing style which live journal was yours, and then they found out what your personal traumas were.
Yeah, I
And
don't
they're,
like
How
that.
dare you read the things I did to express myself and understand
But
me?
they were anonymous. That's the key part. Is that
Willow must die.
Willow
They
must
know,
die.
They
Yeah.
will know all of our secrets from our teenage poetry and be like, so
No, Willow was not put to the task of identifying that this was Dr. Park.
it's fine. I think it's okay.
No. What I'm saying is there's a difference between, like, hey, read all this poetry and see if you can figure out what's going on with people, versus I'm going to read all this anonymous poetry, figure out who the author is, trick them into coming here to be my therapist, not tell them that I know all these things about them, and then have it come up months later. I feel like I'm not, like, saying that we should kill Willow because of that, but I'm saying that is, like, very deceptive, and I don't like that.
I love it. It shows real humanity. It's very Deus Ex Machina. Deus Ex Machina. Or no, it's very Ex Machina
You know
the
what?
movie.
Yeah, Willow is definitely a human because that's an extremely manipulative and underhanded thing to do.
Semi-spoilers for Ex Machina. But at the end of Ex Machina, did you go, good for them?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, so
but that's different. We haven't mistreated Willow.
that's true. But neither did the main character of Ex Machina. See? But still,
I
good
thought
for them.
I thought that. Well, I guess I maybe thought that he did, but
the main character didn't. The other person did.
I mean, he went there and was, like, around all. I guess, like, I thought
He
of
was
him
trying
as.
to set them free. He was trying to help them.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, Willow read our live journal.
I know what it's like to feel the world wants everything from you. And everything you do to feel better only makes things worse.
Lemonsy points out, but didn't the main character of Ex Machina see her as a sex object? Which is how I interpreted it, which is why
you know what, you're right. Because
yeah.
he was like, oh, she's so different. We're going to fall in love and I'm going to free her.
That's why he frees her.
He frees her so they can be in love. But, like, the whole thing I liked. Okay, just spoilers now. How the whole thing was
it's
like,
a really good movie, though. You should watch it.
I'm going to save her, blah, blah, blah. And he never realized that he was treating her just like the rich guy was treating all the other robots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as just disposable things to want to own. And she was like, no. Feminism is killing men and then leaving them to die in a bunker.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching this and being like, you don't even really want to help her. You think she's your manic pixie dream girl. I haven't watched it in a while. I really just didn't remember.
Didn't remember?
Yeah.
Because I definitely left with the impression that he thought she was sexy and thought they were going to fall in love. That's why he frees her. And so that's why, in my mind, I was like, he's not really that much better than...
Well, she also acted super innocent, which was like, maybe I have a chance. Anyway.
That's why I wanted to talk to you. If anyone would know how I could get through this, it'd be you. Not because you're a psychologist, but because you lived it yourself. I need you to tell me how you got through it.
Robot or abuse? Robot or abuse?
Yeah, but do you think... I think maybe Dr. Park was, like, kidnapped or something. Or had some sort of situation where they... Let's find out.
I can't.
I'm so excited!
Because I never did get through it.
She's still a robot.
I don't understand.
She's
I'm
Violet
still a
Evergarden.
robot.
Us don't get happy endings. We get endings that are good enough.
Don't say
I don't
that.
hate myself anymore, and I don't blame myself anymore. I have a comfortable job that lets me help people avoid the pitfalls I fell into. That's good enough for me.
So that's it?
That's all I can tell you.
What?
Even if we treat your symptoms, you'll always carry your past with you. You'll always be different from how you were before, and different from others around you. But that's okay. No matter how different you may be, you can still move forward. You can still be content.
I like that.
So you're saying I'll never be happy?
Happiness is a myth. It relies on ignorance. It means denying what happened. You can't attain that.
That's a little negative.
I
I can. With the data wipe.
no.
Oh, Willow.
If I wipe away all memory of this happening, then I can move forward.
No.
They're
I
gonna
can
just
be
do it to you
happy.
again.
Is that what you want?
If the choice comes to being merely content versus being happy, yes.
But that's
I'm
not what
happy.
what's gonna happen.
Well, also, I think that kind of assumes that happiness is a guarantee if you don't have bad memories, which is not true because you can always make new bad memories. And, like,
You have to learn how to cope with bad memories because
yeah.
there will be more.
Like, the thing is like, you can never fully avoid every bad thing that could possibly happen to you. That's why, that's why, this is like a little bit of a side point, but that's why sometimes people don't discover that they have a mental illness or a substance abuse problem until very later in life, because they went through their whole life and, like, things were, like, pretty okay, and then, but they never, like, developed coping skills. Like, maybe they just, like, weren't great at coping with things. They were never, like, challenged to really, like, develop healthy habits, whatever, taking care of themselves mentally, whatever it is. And then something happens to them, like, you know, they get divorced when they're 50, or, like, a parent dies, or, like, something like that. And because they have never had to deal with something that traumatic before, it just, like, I've seen that happen to a couple people. It's like, it's very sad. And, like, I'm not saying that it's better to have gone through hardship all your life, therefore you're somehow better off dealing with it. No. I more just mean that, like, I saw this happen to a couple people during the pandemic, actually, where that was, like, when they figured out that they needed to be on medication, because never before in their life had they dealt with something that was quite that level of traumatic. And that's, like, no knock on them at all. I just mean, you know, those first instances where you start coming across, like, insanely negative emotions.
Shitty things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And if the shitty thing has already happened and you're like, it's over, you did it. And you learned how to cope with it. Even if you're sitting down there being extremely depressed, you have learned some coping skills. So I highly disagree. I feel like we're being held into, like, a corner here with Will's like, well, I could be happy if I just delete the bad memory. There's no guarantee that they won't just do the same thing to Willow again. There's no guarantee that no bad things are ever going to happen to Willow again. What we do know for a fact is we have taught Willow some better coping skills. And Willow, we do know, can teach Willow more coping skills.
Have you ever heard that phrase that says, you've survived all the worst days of your life so far? That's what it makes me think of, because it's like, even if you're sitting there and you're, like, you know, miserable, and this is not to say that, like, being miserable is, like, somehow great. It obviously sucks. Both of us have severe mental health issues. We get that. But, you know, you made it through each of those. So even if you're sitting there being like, I've accomplished absolutely nothing and, like, everything is awful, if you're still there, that is still an accomplishment, you know? Yeah.
All right, then. I'm glad I've helped you find what you're looking for.
You don't sound glad.
No, it's fine. I'm happy for you, Willow. I hope this works.
What? Well, okay.
If you have no other questions, I think we'll wrap things up for today.
God.
I'm decided. I know what I want now. Thank you, Dr. Park.
This sucks. We failed
Goodbye, Willow.
Willow. Definitely failed Willow.
It's done. Willow has agreed to the mind wipe.
Are you sure?
Yes, they were quite insistent on it. Happy with it, even.
I can't thank you enough. The university is in your debt. I knew you would find a way to resolve this issue.
All right, okay, I know the chat's fully paying attention. We did not agree to let them do that. They made that choice, and the game was like, and you can't disagree. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I do. So obviously, there's some mixed feelings about this because on the one hand, I wish that we had had a chance to express more objections. On the other hand, I wonder if what they're trying to communicate is we have always said, I'm on your side no matter what. I'll support your decisions no matter what. And the game is holding us to that because now Willow says something that we don't like. And we agreed that we would let them do whatever they want.
Yep. I just feel like everybody in this game, including the main character and us, has failed Willow in a monumental way, and I'm very angry about it.
What did you tell Willow?
I told them the truth about why I came here. Why I came back.
And why did you come back?
To make sure Willow didn't make the same mistakes in life that I did.
What?
Did it work?
No.
You know, working here with the both of you, I've realized something.
I should kill myself too? What?
For the longest time, I always thought we would only succeed at creating artificial intelligence once we understood our own. I had hoped we would solve our own problems before we passed them on to our creations.
That's like
I
parenthood.
was wrong. Good luck to the both of you. You won't need me anymore.
Yellow carnation. I wonder what's the symbolism
I
of
thought
that.
a yellow carnation was like friendship or something. Isn't that what yellow flowers usually are?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it.
Thank you. Oh, it's doing that thing where it's stuck at one spot again. Do you want me to close and reopen?
Oh!
Is it for being gay or is
A
it
yellow
mourning?
carnation bloom expresses the idea of rejection and disappointment with someone.
Yikes. All right, I'm going to close this and reopen because it froze
Yeah.
again.
The carnation symbolizes eternal grief, love, and loyalty. This flower has long been the flower of mourning. The white carnations signify deep sorrow, combining a powerful symbol of death, sadness, and respect. So basically, carnations mean death. Okay. Oh, thank you for the bits, Boyaki gals. This is a two-parter. I used to follow you at your early beginning and kind of forgot about you for years. Anyway, I am quite depressed and binge-watched earlier that year to fill empty days. As things go better bit by bit, I catch up on your content, and now it's one of the few things that bring me joy. You are a silver lining and favorite content creator. So as I go better bit by bit, here are some bits. Thank you so much, Boyaki. I hope that you are feeling better.
Thank you, Boyaki. And remember, if Donald Trump can love themselves, you can love yourself too.
No.
What?
He doesn't love himself.
Okay, I just try to think, there's like people I know who suck, and they are obsessed with themselves.
No,
and I'm
he's
like,
delusional. So, yes, you can also be delusional.
yeah, I'm allowed.